Hello and welcome everyone and all to ERL live stream tonight for round number 5 of today's calendar for Tier 2. Now last night we had a thrilling Tier 1 stream, which I do urge everyone to go and obviously check out for themselves. But tonight is Tier 2. And also talking of streams, also last week Tier 2 we had quite a good race around Singapore, which I thought was pretty decent. Mufasa was my co-commentator for that race, and we both done a pretty good job considering that both of us were feeling a bit drained, a bit tired last week, which I'm sure didn't come across noticeably in commentary, but if it did, obviously apologising now for the pair of us, ultimately. But anyway, today I am on my own for Tier 2, and obviously will be, watching or commentating on the Canadian Grand Prix circuit for Tier 2 round 5. Now, last time out, Nix took the victory, who currently is racing for AlphaTauri. He took it under probably one of the toughest circumstances. We're getting a bit backed up by, I think it was Piano Jam or someone. I think it might have been Piano Jam. Can't actually remember who was backing him up, actually. It was one of them. I don't think it was AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri was ahead. But yeah, it was someone backing up Nix, and I'd have to go check out the stream again probably. But yeah, Nix took the victory in probably very pressurized circumstances and did brilliantly to take that victory there. So I'm pretty sure he was satisfied with that win around Singapore. A very tough circuit to get right in the best of conditions, ultimately. And under those circumstances, with the pressure Nix was facing in the final few laps, just added to that element of what Singapore can be like. And tonight is a bit of a different element in terms of the challenge that these drivers will face, because obviously, well, ultimately the Canadian Grand Prix circuit is arguably a little bit easier, but there are still challenges around here, around this circuit, that can catch the drivers out, and not to mention, or not least to mention, the Wall of Champions is one of those elements which the drivers will be coming up to. So I'm going to get up the track map and we're going to see who's first on a lap. Kotos is out. I think that's because he's reserving, maybe from a higher tier. So, right, Williams' driver isn't on a lap. So I think the first one is Unsainted, who is going to be the first driver to commit then to a full qualifying lap then here. And it's a 20.8 for the first sector. Obviously, not a great first sector, to be fair. Bit off. Probably be looking at around a 119 roughly in terms of the first sector lap times. And then for the middle sector, probably looking for a 52. So let's see where Unsainted goes on this middle sector lap time. 43.8, so about a second maybe above what the ultimate lap time will be, so still doing good. Obviously, Unsainted is a new driver to, I believe, the league ultimately, or hasn't really raced much in ERL, as Piano Jam then does a 1:12. Yesterday's pole time, I think we got into the 1:10s, if I rightly recall, last night, so ultimately that's probably going to be, again, the benchmark to beat. Roughly 1:10s we're looking for. Right, Robbo had a bit of a difficult one last night, DNFing, and goes currently on to provisional pole this evening. However, only shortly lived, as both Nix and then Ralph Fatari go to the top of the times on a 1:11. Right, what is Iron Kid doing then? He's, I think, invalidated. So next we got Manic, who is coming around the final chicane, the Villeneuve chicane, and is going to come across the line now. Tries to take a quick run to the line. Doesn't necessarily take the shortest run to the line. The shortest run to the line is pretty much sticking to the right down that straight, not coming over to the left. However, coming over to the left is the normal racing line, of course, so it's a bit of a conundrum for the drivers to work that one out, it will be, during this qualifying. Right, we've got Robbo F96 and we've got Robbo 16. I presume Robbo F96, was he the driver that had a bit of a moment last night? Might have been, actually. I might have been a bit mistaken. It may not have been Robbo 16. Two Robbos, that's going to play mind games, especially if they're on the same piece of track together. Ultimately, yeah, that's going to be a very interesting one for the commentary tonight. At least we know one's called F96 and the other's called 116. The numbers certainly separating them there. Anyway, Whitty then is going to be on a lap, and he's coming through the end of the first sector as we ride on board with then the Mercedes driver. Takes a little bit of curb mounted, doesn't take though too much, doesn't really seem to unsettle the car that much through 5, and then into 6, through 7, carries the speed again, taking a bit of a curb on the inside to the first one at 6, not though unsettling the car, so it seems like got a good car balance. 42.8 for the middle for Whitty, and that therefore will probably be around the 112s to high 111s, I'm reckoning here. So opens up the DRS down this long back straight, as you can see, and then only got one more braking point to mark out, and then through brushes past all the champions, then at the final part of the lap, and a 12.2. So it was around, roughly, I said, high 111 to 12s, and it's a 12.2 for Whitty then there. So, right, Run Monkey is on a lap now. He's going to be trying to set his first attempt, I presume. Does a bit wide at them two corners at turn 4 and 5, as he will then go through then into 6 and 7. Climbs up the hill towards 8, and then 8's pretty much flat into 9, which is a heavy braking zone. Get this one right, and then this is really crucial turn to get a good exit, as this will set you up for the long back straight here, and does have a car in front of him, so might be picking up just ever so slightly a tow from the car ahead. However, I think that car probably a bit too far ahead to be gaining a tow around here. You probably need to be within at least half a second on the game to get the benefit of a tow, which the tow around here probably can be beneficial if you do it correctly. Ultimately, like, yeah, if you do it correctly, you might be able to gain, I don't know, a tenth, maybe 2 tenths at best. But yeah, it's obviously a challenge to do that in qualifying. It's certainly not going to be easy, especially for those now without one of their teammates. But for maybe Ferrari, maybe Manic might want to give Ralphatari a tow and might try to help him out. However, I'm not necessarily sure if Manic is full-time or just a reserve. Haven't seen him much doing racing here, so might be a full-time driver. But Ralphatari, I know, is full-time. To be fair, there is over 47 drivers on this Tier 2 list, which, yeah, does kind of make it a bit confusing as to who is actually full-time and who's not. Well, found one of the Ferrari drivers. I can't seem to see. Begduri is the other one. So Manic is definitely then not full-time. He just a stand-in reserve. But yeah, over 40 drivers, 47 in total. In terms of who's leading, actually, the pack, talking of drivers, so currently at the top of the championship, we've got Vigo. Vigo didn't, though, finish, I think, the last race, or he didn't qualify. I can't remember, might have skipped that round. at Singapore. But either way, Girthquake is P2, followed by Limited Danny, and then Nix is 4th after his win last time out, and then Airman is in 3rd. Currently, though, Vigo does have a 32-point gap over Girthquake, so Vigo is certainly looking very, very comfortable at the top of the standings, and I believe that the maximum points a driver can score this weekend is only 31 points. Therefore, the championship lead is at no threat of once again changing this race out here tonight. We will certainly be seeing, that, the championship leader remain championship leader tonight. And in terms of the constructors, that's a little bit more closer. Only 27 points is the difference between AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo. McLaren are a further 48 behind AlphaTauri in 3rd. Mercedes are in 4th, and then Ferrari are in 5th. So those are your top 5 in both of the standings. I only do top 5 only because, no offense, I'm not going to read all 20 or whatever, all 47 drivers. That would just, be here all night rather than commentating on the event. So far, though, Nix is at the top of the times, as what the kilometre is going to now start another lap, I believe. So, must have been validated because doesn't have much battery, but he is anyway going to be attempting, by the looks of it, another lap here. As heads downhill. Obviously, that turn 3 is a bit off, sort of can make the car go a bit light and therefore throw the car off. So you have to watch out for that because it can mess up then the next turn, which is 4 in the end. And yeah, that's not going to do you any good throughout your lap. But anyway, looks like what the kilometre is really attacking this lap. He's really got the car sliding about, which isn't obviously good. Obviously, the car's always sliding, effectively, but it's just about how much you control that slide. And ultimately, by the looks of it, Kilometer is, not controlling that slide correctly, and therefore losing time. I suspect he'll peel off into the pits, and yep, rightly suspected, because he wasn't improving, and he will therefore just put on a new set of tyres and go again. Obviously, we are now getting into the business end of the qualifying session here in quali, and therefore we will see drivers go for their final attempts. However, AlphaTauri, ultimately is on another lap, and he is a bit off sync to everyone at the moment by the looks of it. We'll have time to come back into the pits and do another lap, but he's going to have to get a move on in case he wants to do a final run. He's going to get maybe a bit of a toe, just a very tiny toe from the Mercedes in front, and really commits through the final part of that lap, through the final sector. Vigo is out, so our championship leader is out of qualifying, and AlphaTauri moves on to provisional pole. So AlphaTauri is now your new pole sitter, ahead of Nix, who is ahead of Storms, and Kilometer in 4th. 5th is Ironkid, and then 6th is Manic so far. And currently just under a second, splitting 7th and 1st. So go and just have a look, see if anyone's on a lap. And I think we've got Costa, who's on a lap. First sector, did he improve? I think he might have done. Might have been just up by 2/10 in the first sector. Currently on a 12.1. Not sure if he did or didn't, but either way, won't matter now because he's invalidated, which is quite unfortunate. How about Run Monkey? Is he doing anything better than what he's done previously? Currently about 10th down by the looks of it, so this will be maybe one of his final runs, unless he peels off into the pits. Nope, commits to it. So he's going to commit to this flying lap. Comes across the line now, tries to keep over to the right, and is unfortunately for him six, uh, six, 6 tenths down behind then behind Unsainted, sorry. So, who's favourite for pole? Mackenzie Miller. So, who's favourite for pole? Well, I would have said Vigo, ultimately. So, yeah, I would have said Vigo is the favourite for pole. But he's out. So I'm going to say probably the ones to watch for pole is probably Nix, Ralph Atari, Iron Kid, probably can have a chance. And then you probably have to say also Storms. Right now he's showing good pace. I wouldn't necessarily consider him a favourite for pole in ordinary circumstances. Can't also forget about Demac. He's sometimes got a good lap within him, one or two. And also, obviously, Kilometre, he's shown a good turn of pace as of late. So, yeah, those would be my favourites for the pole tonight here in Tier 2. Obviously, Tier 2, by the way, is not necessarily ERL's slowest tier. I think ERL's slowest tier is Tier 1. I think that's a little bit slower than Tier 2, ultimately. Tier 3 tomorrow night is the fastest tier. Obviously, another drivers shouldn't mention is Vin Porsche and CPI Danny, but and I think, well, Robbo, I'm not sure why he is out, but yeah, CPI Danny and Vin Porsche would have done a lap, but obviously they're serving qualifying bans due to reserving from a faster tier. They are faster drivers, therefore, in ERL, if you reserve from a faster tier, you do a qualifying ban. Which effectively allows some of the more slower drivers in the league just have a bit of a better opportunity, if that makes sense. So, yeah, that's the whole idea behind that one. Why do you hear me on the game? Not entirely sure why, to be fair. If you do, I suppose you can always mute me from the game side, so that'd be just my advice there. Unless you're listening into the stream, but if you're listening into the stream, I suppose you're supposed to hear me, of course. Anyway, that's enough reading of the comments. Let's see what Nix is now doing. So, Nix, through the first sector, 2 tenths up then on his original lap. Did a 1:10.7, so that would put him around the 10.5s. I think we had a 10.5 actually last night, so that's roughly where we're looking at in terms of the poles, lap time. So, how is Nix doing in the middle sector? Ralph Atari has decided to stay in the pit lane, so he will not go again. So therefore, he is out of qualifying, but is so far your provisional pole sitter. So here comes Nix, up to the main straight, up towards the chicane, and is going to head into that chicane now. Gets the car turned in, rushes past the wall of champions, keeps the car to the right, taking the shortest run to the line, and goes on to provisional pole for now. Here comes then Kilometre. Kilometre then is on his final lap, but peels off into pit lane. So Storms then is coming around. I'm not sure where Iron Kid is at, so we'll go back to Storms in a short while. We'll just see what Iron Kid's doing. He's 2 tenths up, so he is actually improving as well. So he's going to, I imagine, commit to this. Currently wouldn't be good enough for pole, but would certainly be able to challenge a bit further ahead and maybe get that P5. Storms apparently has crossed the line. I'm not entirely sure because I was watching him, but Iron Kid has invalidated, so Manic is going to be one of the final drivers then, I suppose, around then this lap, unless Rum Monkey can do the job. But here comes Manic and crosses the line now. doesn't improve, 16 thousandths off his original time. And there we go then. That's then qualifying. And as I said, Nix was one of the favourites to take pole and has taken pole in the AlphaTauri. Once again, AlphaTauri on top. That's been the story of Tier 2 this season. Followed by AlphaTauri, then Kilometer, then Storms, then Robbo, Iron Kid in 6th, Litz in 7th, Manic in 8th, Kossa is in 9th, Witty is in 10th, Piano Jam is in 11th, Rum Monkey in 12th, and Unsainted down in 13th. Final qualifier to do a lap this evening. Drivers obviously not doing a lap. Obviously we've got Kotos, Vigo, Demac, Vim Porsche, CPI Danny, and Robbo in the end not doing a lap. I believe Demac, Vim Porsche, and CPI Danny are all serving qualifying bans due to reserving, as I said previously, from a higher tier to this tier. So obviously that gives them a bit of a offset, therefore, ultimately in the end, and just makes things a bit easier for the drivers ahead and give them a bit more of a fairer fight than there. But that is qualifying then for today, and Nix is on pole. So now we will go into the race. So, we will go into race. Demac has left the session, not entirely sure, so it's lit. So that's two drivers leaving the session at the moment. Hopefully everything is okay, and hopefully it's not a EA thing again, because typical EA, you know, you can never trust them with a game, you know. Personally, I'm fed up with EA already, and just wish we had competent game developers building these games, ultimately. Anyway, don't look like we do have any issues, so just them two drivers, unfortunately. Hopefully they'll get back into the session. And it is lights out, and away we go. Nix gets a decent start from pole, got in fact a good start from pole, and is clear of everyone. So the action is really all going on behind him as we skittle our way through turns 1 and 2. Then heading into turn 3, drivers sorting themselves out. Few ghosted cars obviously going to lose positions very, very quickly, and a bit of a shame for Storms because he started in a very good qualifying position, and it looks like, in fact, Manic has got a bit of front wing damage, so picking up a bit of contact there, and how's that going to affect him in this race? Certainly visible damage that is as well, which would probably mean he's got a orange or yellow front wing, which isn't going to help him at all then in this race. Yeah, Miller and Litz got kicked. I did suspect so, unfortunately. Hopefully you guys can rejoin. Vigo, though, is really on the move already, up into 8th. Kotos up now to 9th. Both of them started down in 14th and 15th, but we're seeing drivers go wide, and that one really gone wrong as we see Iron Kid is out. I think we've had a big crash at the Wall of Champions. Iron Kid out. Manic, I think, has lost his entire front wing, has he? Yep, as he comes back into the pit lane. crossing the white line. I'm pretty sure that could be a penalty if the stewards pick up on that. I'm not entirely sure if the stewards watch the streams back, so that one could go to the stewards, because I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to do that. And we do have a safety car, but Iron Kid is out of the race after only, well, one lap overall. So yeah, apparently no one can invite you. What I might do, you're on EA, so just gonna, whilst we got a safety car, I am just gonna send you a EA friend request, and hopefully you can join, if I can do that. So how do you send a friend request? That's if I can do it, because obviously might not be able to, which would be you've rejoined anyway, so I've just seen you. So either way, that's good. If you couldn't rejoin, I would have obviously sent you a EA friend request and sent you a rejoin to lobby. But at least you've rejoined now, and the good thing is, I suppose, for Ulits anyway, you are only half a lap behind. Do I want you to join me in commentators? Iron Kid? Of course I do. That would be lovely. So I'm sure you're not happy, but why not? We'll just join a party. So, sorry in case you can't see the stream. But yeah, I've just sent Iron Kid, co-commentator, one of the co-commentators of ERL.
Yo!
Invite. How are you, Iron Kid?
Supposed to be good, but I got taken out, lap 1, so yeah.
Do you want to explain maybe what happened? Because I only saw the end result of it there between you and Monique.
It was Magnier, the Ferrari, who hit me in the rear like 2 times in the first 5 corners, and then last corner when I'm about to take the chicane normally, I got taken out like it was an open lobby, and I hit the wall, and I was taking the corner normally, and he said, "Hey, Break, I checked earlier, even though I was in the middle of almost of the chicane, so that was an open lobby hit, to be honest."
Did look like it did get quite spicy, to be fair, on that first lap, because one of the Mercedes I was watching, can't remember who it was, I think it might have been Whitty, almost missed the entire chicane, and almost took a few people out there, unfortunately, himself. So it was quite a action-packed opening first lap, really, had there. I presume you've sent, let's say, rejoin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really mad. I just wanted to do something right now, and I saw that the stream is still up. So say, why not? Let's jump the stream. I think you need help.
Yeah, no, why not? It's good that you've joined. I think anyway, the commentators box after that. Sorry that you've ended your race on lap 1. Not the nicest way to end, but at least you can. Well, you've crashed into an infamous wall.
Yeah, true.
That wall is a very infamous wall of champions. Maybe, have you won a championship yet? In any league?
I won Constructor Champion. Does that count?
Yep, so you are then officially a champion crashing into the wall of champions. Very fitting.
Yeah, I won the Constructor Championship with McLaren last season.
Anyway, we are about to go racing. What was your actual strategy, I presume?
I was going for, well, yesterday we had rain, but I was going anyway with medium softs, because obviously the safety car will come in early, like it did, and like it happened yesterday as well. And yeah, so medium hard's the best option because you might get like a safety car like around lap 10, and so
Yeah.
you can pit there from hards.
Anyway, we are racing once again then in then ERL for the second time today. Hopefully see a bit more cleaner action from the drivers on this second safety car restart. And so far, looks like everyone is cleanly getting through this second then phase of racing, you'd have to say. Still Storms and Litz unfortunately are ghosted, and also I think the Mac, is he ghosted?
Yeah, I invited them back, so I hope they're going to be back.
I think they might be back. I don't know, because it looks like they're ghosted, but their cars are, what you call it, actually racing, if that makes sense. I don't know, it could be just AI.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what the AI is set to. Anyway, CPI Danny is going to make up a position then, 2 positions for the price of 1, and we'll chase down after Storms. Then in the Williams, we had quite a good race last week. I don't know if you raced in ERL last week for Tier 2. Can't remember if you did around Singapore. CPI Danny wasn't involved there, but...
Ooh, Nix lost it.
Yep.
Nix lost the lead.
Vigo and Kosa going side by side through turn 4. Not the easiest place to go side by side. Vigo trying to battle Vin Porsche, and them two getting a bit of elbows out, touching each other. But in the end, Vin Porsche comes out ahead of Vigo for P6 in the end. So Nix is down to 4th. Ralph Fatari is up into 1st, followed by Kilometer, and then Robbo. As it's all getting actually more spicy in the background. And ultimately, they're going to go 3 side by side into that chicane. That's not very wise, and Vigo in the end comes out on the worst end of the stick there, unfortunately, as they attempted to go 2 by 2 into that chicane. That was a bit risky.
Yeah, it was kind of risky.
To be fair, can I just ask, is it a full moon in, what you called it tonight, Greece? Because the way these drivers are battling in the midfield, it is
I don't know if
quite insane.
I think it is for full moon.
Literally, I don't know if you get the full moon reference or not, but yeah, when there's a full moon, werewolves, usually. Right now, everyone is driving, literally, making contact with each other left, right and centre. But Robbo is up into 10th, making quite a nice pass on Vigo, who's dropping down the order as we're seeing a positional change out front, and it's Kilometer who's taken the lead of the Grand Prix on lap 7 as they cross the line. Then it'll be Ralph Attari then behind, then Kilometer going into lap 8, and Robbo 116 has picked up a penalty of 3 seconds, I believe, there.
That's early on.
Yeah, after 8 laps.
To be fair, as well.
A lot of penalties were issued last night. How was the wet driving compared to the dry around here anyway, did you find?
Well, the tire was a little bit higher than the dry, but it was pretty good. It was stable. It wasn't like sliding all the race, and I think the podium I got at the end, so it was like the best was there. I think we didn't have many crashes as well. We had like 2 of them, and the rest of them retired. So it was good racing, to be fair. last
And
night.
a excellent race from the Aston Martin of Arbeg Dury
When
to do
Robo go
that
for
zero
for a
stop.
double move for the lead, and he's first.
Yeah,
Robo is
and
leading.
I think we're going to have 5 wide almost down into
Ooh, that was
turn
so
1.
close.
But Nix retakes P2 and is now behind Robbo, who is now in P2. But going on behind him, there's another battle between CPI Danny and Vim Porsche. CPI Danny just carving his way through the field here, up into third. Obviously started at the back due to his qualifying ban, and will be now hunting down P1, but CPI Danny showing why, or showing his true quality tonight, which is quite good to see. Obviously one of the faster drivers overall in the league, and he's going to be right now breathing down the neck of Robbo and Nix as we head down the main back straight in towards the final chicane. Nix overtakes then Robbo for the lead of the Grand Prix. And then here comes CPI Danny, then on Robbo as well. Robbo defending the inside, but CPI Danny goes marching around the outside.
I mean, Danny's already 16 places up with one safety car and 10 laps in. Well, if he doesn't mess up, I don't think he's gonna win. I think it's easy for him.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Because obviously this race really only got going on lap 3, or lap 4 really. So he's pretty much made up all those positions, 16 positions, within the space of 6 laps, and that's pretty remarkable. However, it is on the mediums. The entire way around this circuit isn't that much of a difference, like between medium hards. To be fair, you could maybe even attempt softs if you really wanted to.
Yeah, you can
it's
do
one of
that.
them circuits.
Around like 10 laps, maybe go 11 laps.
Yeah. Maybe the hard runners will attempt the hard soft strategy, which could come into play a bit later on. But for now, CPI Danny overtakes Nix and is now once again your new race leader. And that, I believe, is the 4th change of lead for this race. Obviously, we've had Robbo, we've had Nix twice, and we've also had Ralph Attari also take the lead. Vigo, the championship leader, down in 9th so far. So not been his day. Also started at the back or towards the back. Not really sure why he started that low.
He got a quali ban for not checking in, but we had to fill the grid, so he get back in, but he should have do the quali ban. So he's back in with a quali ban, so that's why he starts on the back.
Fair enough. So there we go then. That answers that question.
And also, I just saw it. Danny has made a pit stop, and he's first. He has an 8 lap sold mediums, and the rest of them have 10 laps.
Yeah, I've actually just picked up on that now myself, as you've just mentioned that. And that's, well, 2 lap mediums aren't really going to make much of a difference in terms of tyre wear. But
well, it's mediums though, so
yeah, I'm not really
when
sure.
Vin Porsche went for a move on the turn 2, and he's up to second. Now he's hunting down Danny, who Vin Porsche as well started almost last with a quali ban because of the higher to lower tire, and he is second with 15 places up. So it's a fight on nothing. Can Vince actually catch to Danny and have a proper battle for first, and not having just a win for Danny? Let's see.
Yeah. Unsainted has unfortunately picked up 3 seconds himself now, becoming the latest driver to become the victims of the penalty system here at, obviously, Canada. Obviously, probably most of the warnings are coming from the chicanes, probably of turns 7 and 8, and then obviously then the final chicane of I think it's 12 and 14, 12 and 14, 12 and 13. So those are probably where most of the warnings are coming from, as we're seeing once again then these three Aston Martins, the two Astons, and then the Knicks fight it out, as also then the two Alpines are looking to get in on the action too, as we see Kilometer go a little bit wide and lose down then 2 positions, both losing to Kotos and to then Nix then, so he's now down, or back down to 6th, which again not gonna be helping him. So got a great battle for P3 at the moment going on here, which is good to see, as Vigo then overtakes Ralph Atari, and obviously he's one of the drivers so far. Vigo actually does have a penalty. I was going to, he didn't have a penalty, to be fair. So Ralph Atari, Robbo, not many out there without penalties, almost 50-50 in terms of that element of a race. But picking up penalties this early on, going to be difficult not to get further penalties later on as well. As Vigo gets a good run out the final corner, and then he's going to go on through. As Kotos has just ghosted through Nix, completely just ghosted.
I think so.
Not entirely sure what's gone on there.
Maybe it's a EA glitch with PCs and the Xbox, because I saw messages from Leeds and someone and Storm that said that they can't get in on the game. So maybe it's a glitch from EA.
To be fair, wouldn't shock me. Crossplay is obviously enabled in this division, which therefore probably do experience crossplay issues. As Kotos then making this time a proper move on the track rather than going through his opponent, and is now up into P3. But it's Robbo dives into the pit, so after 13 laps is giving up those mediums, and I imagine this will be for a new wing and for also the hards, so he's not happy with that front wing. Clearly must have picked up some earlier wing damage, weren't visible.
We have yellow
to
flag.
us.
Kotos is I think around. Yeah, he is. He's on the wall.
Yeah, and
that's a weird way to be on the wall there. I think he might be full stop.
Certainly is.
And Robbo is, I think, around the wall. Oh no, he's losing their positions. Yes, we're almost 3 wide there with the Robbo and Arfatarian. What is a kilometer?
Yeah, that was a very weird position for Kotos to be crashed there. Certainly was that, but at least he's going, so no safety car, but for him certainly losing out a lot of positions, but he's still within the race, therefore still picking up points today, which will be good for him. And we're seeing Ralph Atari go around the outside of both Robbo and What the Kilometer and moves up himself into 5th position. So Vigo and Nix swap positions, and Vigo is now onto the podium. Now that's pretty decent for Vigo, because the two drivers ahead of him are not really championship rivals, or certainly not close to him in the championship, then Porsche and CPI Danny, who I don't think they're full-time in this division, are they? So
Who?
Vin Porsche and Danny, they're not full-time.
No, they're on the tier 3.
Reserves. Yeah. So for Vigo, effectively, if he can get 3rd, I suppose that'd be a bit like a win this evening.
Yes, yeah.
In terms of his fight for the championship, at least. So Ralph Atari is going to be hunting down Nix for then what is fourth, but obviously that could obviously become third, as Nix and Vigo both fighting it out then the two teammates, as we see now the AlphaTauri of Robbo going into pits and trying to come back onto the circuit. It's very weird.
Is Robin tired?
Yep, he's just retired in the pit lane after that, so that's a bit weird. You know, just gave up. Unfortunately for him. So, yep. Anyway, the Mac trying to keep joining and unjoining. I think he's having any luck getting back into this race, unfortunately, which is a great shame for him. So, lap then 17. Do have a yellow flag for, I think it might be Rum Monkey, or is it someone else? Not entirely.
I think it was Robo's car after the pit.
Ah, yes, that makes entirely a lot of sense, considering it was a light blue dot, because it was looking for the Alpine. So, yep, there we go. So, right, back to the battle for then third place. Still Vigo ahead of Nix here. Vigo hasn't really pulled out any sort of gap, which for me is a bit surprising, ultimately, because I would have expected Vigo to maybe not waltz away like maybe Vin Porsche and Danny have done, but I think pretty sure you would expect him to maybe build a 1 or 2 second lead over his teammate. However, Nix is a fast driver, that should be stressed as well. As Raffatari having a moment in the background, getting onto the exit curb and grass for good measure, really pushing them. He is. Any battles you're watching at the moment?
Watching actually the P10 with Robo and D-Mac. It's 30-10s. I think it's one of the closer right now. Vigo picks up a 5 second penalty by speeding in a pit lane.
Yeah, that's another penalty coming his way, and unfortunately he won't be able to serve it in this stop, which therefore he might have to carry with him until the end of the race. So effectively he'll have 8 seconds of penalties, if not more, by the time this race is done and dusted, which could really hamper him in the race ultimately and his race result, as CPI Danny, then our race leader, becomes the next driver to inherit a 3 second penalty here.
Almost the whole grid has a penalty if we include Nix, D-Mac, Ralph Atari, Leeds and Ram Monkey. Everyone else has a penalty.
Well, Litz currently isn't driving. I think he's ghosted, so...
Yeah, so you take out the Leeds, and still it's 1, 2...
Also,
4 drivers from the 16 doesn't have a penalty.
Also, D-Mac isn't driving, so it's in fact maybe 3.
Yeah, everyone have a problem. Robo retired because everyone was lagging everywhere ahead of him, so he couldn't race. That's why he retired.
Fair enough.
So I think it's an EA problem. I wish we could restart the race, but I think it's a little bit late.
I mean, could restart and do a 25%. But yeah, be entirely down to you. Ultimately,
I think we can restart it and do a 50%, 25, no, 50%.
25.
Yeah, we do 25, I think.
We are on lap 20. Even though I imagine CPI Danny won't be too entirely pleased to hear that news. he'd be devastated. That'd be only what 18 laps, which there's only 15 still remaining. So yeah, or in fact there is actually 15 now remaining. Was 16 as Danny crossed the start-finish line.
Well, if it was a bigger problem with the drivers, I think like how many drivers? I think we're missing like 3, and
Yeah.
1 retired, and so we have 4 from 19, so 15 drivers didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So the majority of the drivers doesn't have a problem, so I don't think there's
No, of course
a
not.
possibility to restart a lobby.
It wouldn't probably be fair on the drivers that have driven the races that they've driven so far. Really, in truth. So yeah, I wouldn't really be urging for a restart anyway myself. Because seems Vigo's happy, seems Danny is happy, and Vigo's now up into P2. Interestingly, who has gotten ahead of them Porsche somehow. So not entirely sure how that one has occurred as Vim Porsche locks up into the hairpin. Currently, fastest lap is currently with Vigo, who is second, as we see then Vim Porsche get past, and we're just going to have a look at the penalty situation. So Kotos has just picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Then we've got Vigo on currently 8. So in fact, we'll go from top to bottom. So we've got Danny on 3, Vigo on 8, then Porsche on 3, 8 for Kilometer, 3 for Robbo 116, 3 for obviously Storms, 6 for Coaster, 3 for Piano Jam, 11 for Kotos, and 6 for Witty, and then 9 seconds for then Unsainted, who's chasing down Litz in last place at the moment.
Did Kotos got a 5 seconds penalty in the pit lane?
Yes. He
that's why
literally
he has 11.
just picked that one up.
I didn't saw it.
No, that's alright. No worries. So
Yeah, there's a lot of penalties. See, there's a big difference from wet to dry.
So that final chicane, I think, really.
Final chicane and turn. Turn. I think it's 3. I think it's 3. Let me check it a little bit quick.
That's the turn.
3, 4. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
the one that is Danny going right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that one is a very tricky one to get right. Obviously,
the right hand is the one you got a penalty.
Yeah, you get that wrong. Like it's a very very tough one to get right. I remember. Well, I don't know if you watched the 2019 Canadian Grand Prix.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah,
of course.
Then you had that penalty with Vettel. Yeah.
Yeah, that was I think not. Yeah, that wasn't the best decision by the stewards.
No,
FIA.
I agree.
It was unfair, I think, for Vettel.
I mean, it was what it was, but yeah, no, I agree. I'm not complaining.
You're not in control of the car, yeah, that happens.
You know. Still, but yeah, that turn 3, as proven by that, is notorious for mistakes.
And Danny with a fast lap.
Yeah. So Danny, obviously got a 9-second lead ahead of Vigo. Then, right now, Nix would finish on the podium at the moment. I think Kilometer would be down still in 5th, unfortunately for him. So, in fact, Nix could be a very important driver for his teammate here in the end, depending how much time Kilometer loses behind, and same with Ralph Atari. Currently, the 14.3. Currently, Vigo would have to.
Team Ports with a 3 seconds penalty.
Yep. So he's got now 6 seconds penalties. And he's going to overtake then Vigo here for what will be P2 in this race. Not just in the penalties at the moment, but also will overtake on the track and takes away P2 from Vigo, moves himself up then into that second position. Obviously getting that DRS, which certainly helping him out down the straight, and DRS around Canada is a pretty powerful tool. There's, I think, what, 4 DRS zones, if I'm right in saying? Or 3?
3, I think it's the
3.
first, then it's the one that after turn 5, where is Mercedes rather leads, and the other one, the main straight before the final straight.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's quite a powerful tool though, DRS around this circuit. If Vigo can stay within the DRS through here and stay within the toe, he's gonna maybe be able to return the favour. But for Vigo, probably doesn't want to go for the overtake. If I was him, I would probably just sit behind and use Vigo as a bit of a, what you call it, a rope or a toe to pull him along and try and build out that 8-second gap over Nix, who's currently in then P4 at the moment. And on that first straight, Vigo doesn't go for the move. Was a bit too far back and looks like again too far back. So seemingly for now doing what I've just suggested.
What is it? Colombia picks up another 3 seconds when he had a number 11.
Yeah. So he is now on another 3 seconds. So that's a lot of penalties for him.
And I think everyone has made a bit stop, so Danny is leading by 12 seconds. That's a lot for Danny.
Yeah.
I think it's a no racing again, Tier 2.
Yep, ultimately. Chronometer about to maybe have a move on Ralph Vitari for P5 then here. I think Ralph Vitari just outside the DRS window of Nix. And here we go then, move for P5 in this race. And that's a pretty much easy classic move then at the Canadian circuit of Gilles Villeneuve. And he will now maybe try and chase down Nix for 4th. However, does have a lot of penalties, whereas Nix so far has got absolutely none. And really, he's the only driver besides himself and DMAC with no penalties, as DMAC is going to make a move then for P10. Little bit of wheel contact between himself and Kosa as he sends his car into turn 1. Just maybe a little bit of understeer there for the Alfa Romeo driver, but in the end, cleanly through, or as clean as it possibly could have been there in the end. So that's a position gained for DMAC, who as well hasn't got any penalties in this race. Now, Nix has, well, closed down at least a second of that gap to his teammate Vigo. So he is still hunting down that P3, that final podium spot. Who do you think will take that final podium spot, Nix or Vigo, or someone else?
I think because of the penalties, it might be Nix.
Fair enough.
Penalties.
Yeah, and we are coming into the final stage of the race here then in this Canadian Grand Prix, as kilometers actually into the barrier. Does have the car though still moving.
Retired. Ooh!
Yeah.
And that's why you don't retire on the track.
Yeah,
that's a safety car.
Yeah, only
that's why you don't retire on the track.
Now escalated to a full, but that has caused a huge incident and he's actually taken out his teammate, Robbo, 116.
Yeah.
So that is even worse, really, for Kilometer. No
Yeah,
doubt.
that's really a double penalty, to be honest.
Yeah, no doubt a big penalty will be coming Kilometer's way for that. So that's also kind of allowed Vigo to get rid of at least 5 seconds of his penalties. And also another team going to be affected by this will be AlphaTauri, because Nix is going to have to wait longer than the rest, and he's going to lose out then positionally. So might still come out in a decent position. Comes out in P5, but he's lost a position there because of that incident as well. And in a sense is now fallen down into 5th behind AlphaTauri. But good news for him, doesn't have a penalty. At least not for now.
I've never seen ever. So I hope he doesn't have one.
Yeah. Now Damac is up into 7th, but is on those tyres which are ultimately 9-lap old. Has now just unfortunately disconnected, but he will get reconnected, pretty sure, because he has done it before, the reconnection. So hopefully he can get reconnected, come into the pits and fit on new tyres for himself. Maybe have a late charge in this race.
Who do you think is going to win now, with Vin Porsche getting in the back of Danny?
Oh, CPI Danny. He's just a bit. I think he's just a bit too. What you call it? Too far ahead in terms of. I'm not doubting Vin Porsche, but I think he's just been a level above everyone today. Maybe even 2 levels above everyone. With all due to respect.
Yeah, that's true.
However, according to my screen, Damac has taken the lead of the Grand Prix. What on earth is happening here?
That's weird. Now I think Dimac for me is in the back.
My screen.
Dimac is, if you go to Storm,
Yeah.
he's lagging everywhere, man. Storm, he's behind Storm.
But on my screen, literally, Danny
He's first, yeah.
has overtaken the safety car.
What? I don't see a safety car.
Don't you?
No.
Go
The
watch.
safety car is going slowly.
If you go watch the stream, literally, you'll see what's going on. Maybe.
Everyone is overtaking. Oh man, I think it's glitched.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, this is interesting. I just hope that in the game it's not glitched.
How much percentages of the race of 30?
I mean, it was 30, so I mean we'd have to do a 5. Well, it'd be about 5 lap a race.
I don't think we do have a 5 lap.
It was like we were on lap 30, so yeah, like it'd literally be. I don't know how you'd sort that one out.
I need to check. Over 75% before glitch, full points awarded for no restart, but no restart.
Fair enough.
So, do we need to restart? Do I need to end the race though?
I think you might have to. Miller is saying the whole lobby is glitched, so I think
Yeah,
that
Danny
has
so.
to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is then the end of the race.
Yep.
And in terms of result, well, that's going to be difficult-ish, I suppose, to work out.
I can go back and race.
I'll just get
Race.
penalties
So
up
I
just
need
so
I need to
no.
go back after the safety car actually came out.
Yeah.
I don't count the safety car as a thing because people pitted, and that made everyone glitch because of that.
Yeah. So there we go then. CPI Danny, I'm pretty sure is safe to say will be the winner. Who's joining him on the podium? I have no idea, to be fair. Bit of an anticlimactic ending, which apologise about that.
Yeah, it's a AEA thing, so
Yeah,
I'm really not surprised after all.
but that was an ERL tonight. Any driver of the day? I presume you're going to say CPI Danny.
No, actually, it's Vingo.
There you go. Fair enough.
Yeah.
My one's going to be given to CPI Danny. I think he deserves driver of the day. After starting last to first, really. That is pretty impressive. Anyway,
So who got the podium? I think Nick's got podium after all because of the penalties.
yeah, I think Nick's. I think it'd be Vim Porsche then Nick's. I'm not sure where Vigo finished because he would have had 8 seconds before the safety car, as he
Well,
served up 5 seconds.
good thing we have the stream up
Um,
now because it would be so distracting to try to see the results now.
yeah,
So that's one of the good things we have about the stream. So, so I want to say sorry for everyone because right now I'm the one who hosting the lobby. It's not my problem about the lobbies. It's of EA and the games only because I never had an issue with Tier 1 or Tier 3 when I was hosting. So this is an EA problem, not my problem. My internet is fine. Yeah, sorry about that. I will make an announcement as well for that. So yeah, that was a worst race ever, and that's pretty much it for today. And we have a tomorrow's race in Tier 3, and I hope it goes better than this one.
yeah, indeed. Anyway, thank you for joining tonight. Obviously,
Yeah,
presume commentators will be back tomorrow for Tier 3. And
yeah, me
hopefully
and
a
the
good
Dust
race.
Latifi.
There we go then. Please subscribe, like and share the stream. And until tomorrow, see you next time.
See ya, guys.